We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, a dear heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. With your flag, with your flag, with your flag, with your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of our heroes' blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. Too bloody now, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Hey. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. I see the rising sun from Africa. Oh, this is a sign of victory. Oh, yeah. I see future in Africa. Oh, yeah. People of Biafra. See, I shining on the wall. Oh, yeah.
We now continue part 4 of Biafra, the case for independence. This part talks about the pogrom, the 29th of September 1966. On the 29th of September, as the Constitutional Conference was still sitting in Lagos, events occurred which will always rank as of the utmost significance in the social and political history of Nigeria. events which made fundamental changes in the structure and pattern of Nigerian society and government. On that day began a series of organized massacres of Easterners by armed northern soldiers and civilians. The pogrom was on a scale never before witnessed in the history of Africa. The harrowing details of these massacres have been too well documented to need retelling here. However, the following three accounts of what happened should be quoted, not so as to dwell on the horror of what took place, but to establish A. that the massacres were organized with care and precision. Secondly, that the army played an important part in the killings. John Bullock, Daily Telegraph, 22nd October 1966, has this to say. This uninhibited violence has been put forward as another hysterical, spontaneous demonstration of northern dislike of the Igbos. That might be accepted if the massacres had spread in a chain reaction, but they did not. In Kano, Kaduna, Jos, Zaria, and a dozen other places, the killings all began at 7 p.m. on Saturday. At each place, Hausa soldiers with loaded weapons were on hand, with gangs of youth thugs imported from the surrounding countryside to help the troops. These groups were armed not only with sticks and machetes, but also with typed lists of addresses of Igbos. This is hardly a spontaneous outbreak. Let me repeat this. A quotation from John Bullock, Daily Telegraph, on the 22nd of October 1966. Quote, this uninhibited violence has been put forward as another hysterical, spontaneous demonstration of northern dislike of the Igbos. That might be accepted if the massacres had spread in a chain reaction, but they did not. And in Kaduna, in Kano, in Zaria, in Jos, and a dozen other places, the killings all began at about 7 p.m. on a Saturday. At each place, Hausa soldiers with loaded weapons were on hand, with gangs of youth thugs imported from the surrounding countryside to help the troops. These groups were armed not only with sticks and machetes, but also with typed lists of addresses of Igbos. Hardly a spontaneous outbreak. Time magazine, 14th October 1966, has this to say. The massacre began at the airport near the 5th Battalion's home city of Kano. A Lagos-bound jet had just arrived from London, and as the Kano passengers were escorted into the customs shed, a wide-eyed soldier stormed in, brandishing a rifle and demanding Ina Nyamiri Hausa for "Where are the damned Igbos?" There were Igbos among the customs officers, and they dropped their chalk and fled, only to be shot down in the main terminal by other soldiers. Screaming the blood curses of a Muslim holy war, the Hausa troops turned the airport into shambles, bayoneting Igbo workers in the bar, gunning them down in the corridors, and hurling Igbo passengers off the plane to be lined up and shot. Special Correspondent, Financial Times, 30th of November 1966. Meanwhile, quote, meanwhile, in the north itself, there is a resurgence of the old NPC, the Northern People's Congress, with its true Muslim Hausa Fulani base, its exercise of control through the Emirates, and its complex power structure, which is little understood. Who indeed plotted violence against the Igbos so that it would erupt in the same day, on the same day, in towns hundreds of miles apart? Who indeed plotted violence against the Igbos so that it would erupt on the same day in towns hundreds of miles apart? Now more and more pressure is being brought to bear on Lieutenant Colonel Hassan Katsina by the old-style politicians such as Alhaji Inua Wada, Zana Bukar Dim Charima, and young army officers such as Lieutenant Colonel Shua. The scale and intensity of the massacres prompted Lieutenant Colonel Gowon to make a personal appeal to Northerners to stop the killings. But it was in that speech that the true attitude of those in control of Nigeria was impolitely revealed when Lieutenant Colonel Gowon stated, and I quote, "You all know that since the end of July, God, in His power, has entrusted the responsibility of this great country of ours, Nigeria, into the hands of another Northerner." Here I would like to repeat what I have said earlier. The responsibility for the well-being of Nigeria is today in our hands, and this is a responsibility which cannot be treated lightly. This was published in the New Nigerians on the 30th of September 1966. This speech confirmed the conclusions already widely held in the East, that the northern idea of unity for Nigeria was one which entailed northern domination, that the Ironsi regime was overthrown because it was headed by a non-northerner, and that Easterners were slaughtered in their thousands because the North saw in them an obstacle to domination. Now, at the same time as Lieutenant Colonel Gowon was addressing the North in these terms, in the hope of reducing in intensity the savage massacre which had then begun, he broadcast to the nation on the eve of National Day. We must, first of all, he said, as thousands of Igbos were dying at the hands of organized northern civilian and soldiery, thank God that we live to mark this anniversary. With increasing irony, he went on to say, and I quote, I seize this opportunity, therefore, to remind the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the police again of their sacred charge. Our duty as personnel of the armed forces is to protect each and every citizen of this country and to serve any government of the country. It is therefore absolutely essential that each soldier or sailor or airman or police does his utmost himself and together with his company to ensure that every citizen is enabled to go about his lawful duty and personal business free from fear and free from molestation. We have a duty to contribute our utmost to the restoration of normalcy and stability in the country. We must remove any ground for apprehension. Close quotation. These massacres are of further significance in that it is from this point in time that the death of the old Federation dates. The very basis of the federal system of government was undermined. The rights of freedom of movement, to seek employment, to set up home or business anywhere in the Federation were curtailed for the majority of Easterners. The scars of these days are and will remain for many years to come fresh on the memories of the Eastern people, and it is obvious that any form of political association for the future between the peoples of Nigeria will have to accommodate and make allowances for these realities. As was eventually determined, over 30,000 Easterners lost their lives in the pogrom on May, in July, in September, and October of 1966. Hardly an Eastern family did not suffer. Over 1,800,000 refugees flooded into the East, creating intolerable economic, social strain on that region. The East was stunned, frightened, and suspicious. In these terrible circumstances, the East Nigeria military government insisted on the implementation of the 9th August Agreement regarding the posting of all military personnel of their region to their region of origin. It was clear that otherwise the safety of the Eastern delegations to the conference could not be guaranteed. Lieutenant Colonel Gowon would not, however, implement the agreement, and on the 16th of November, the federal military government announced the adjournment indefinitely of the ad hoc committee. as documented in Nigeria 1966 document. The federal government statement continued after referring to the difficulties in finding an alternative venue suitable to the Eastern delegation. Even if an alternative venue was acceptable to all, the stand of some of the delegations, as evidenced from their latest memoranda and the discussions with the Supreme Commander had with some of them, leaves one in no doubt that no useful purpose could be achieved by the continued sitting of the ad hoc committee. In its place, he has himself drawn up proposals for lessening tension and for constitutional reforms, which he will discuss with the regional military governors. On the 30th of November 1966, Lieutenant Colonel Gowon spelt out in greater detail what he had in mind. Quote, "I should emphasize," he said, "that the idea of a temporary confederation is unworkable. In so saying, he restricted it in an important respect, the terms of reference, which he himself has given to the ad hoc Constitutional Conference on the 12th of September, when he invited the delegations to consider confederation as one of the possible future forms of government for Nigeria. Lieutenant Colonel Gowon followed his rejection of the confederation by announcing that he would appoint a drafting committee to prepare the outline of the draft constitution, which would be submitted to a constituent assembly whose delegation would be selected by the federal military government. He stressed that the delegates thus selected would not reflect the views of the regional blocs. Now, towards the end of this speech, he added ominously, "It is easy enough for me to mobilize enough forces to deal with any dissident or disloyal group. But I have always preferred peaceful solutions to our current crises. We have had enough bloodshed in this country, but if circumstances compel me to preserve the integrity of Nigeria by force, I shall do my duty to my country." Thank you.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. There was a nation living in peace and unity. Hey, they are people with love and harmony. Oh, yeah. They saw greatness rise up to its purity. With another people of different culture, ideal heritage, bias and oppressive. Oh, I see. A nation from trigger of Africa, rising with strength and might and power. In due time, nobody gonna praise us. Rather, you all gonna embrace her. Wave your flag, wave your flag, wave your flag, wave your flag. Oh yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home. Oh yeah, Biafra is our home. Oh, it's my home. Yeah, Biafra is our home.
I reminisce way back 1967. Death toll on the blood couldn't count them even. Mama screaming, child squealing, pops on the ground. 2.5 years, over 3 million's gone. Why? Cause we asked for our freedom, and we're going back to our sovereign kingdom. They shut us down when we cried, the world said nothing. Sitting back in the crib, watching our suffering. Should I talk about the planes dropping shells like rain? Suka had the first taste of our heroes' blood. Abagana Zobunigwe was stronger than flood, but the juke is too strong and fought them off on the chart. Thought the bloodshed's gone, then it came again. 216 and the massacre, it started again. So bloody now, I couldn't cry tears. Blood dripping down my eyes, water in my vein. We died trying to fight the cause and we're trying to break him. It's our freedom, but the world was against us.
Wave your flag over Africa. Welcome people of Biafra. Wave your flag over all the world. See those people of Zion is here.
It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion. It is a nation that the Lord has chosen for the people of Zion.
We need peace, we choose freedom. We need peace, we choose freedom. Yeah. Let the tears of our mothers who lost their children be heard. Let the blood of our heroes speak from now till forever. Let the whole wide world know Biafra is our home.